New class alert, please. We got a new class upcoming. Who are the allies of Allah and the allies of Shaytan? Taught by Ustad Layla Nashiba. I know you're not going to want to miss this. So please stay tuned, okay? Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers. Faithful friend or enemy.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulallah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our series entitled, this is our Aqidah series. And we have been discussing for the past couple of weeks now the characteristics of the allies of Allah and the characteristics of the allies of Shaytan. And again, I want to remind everyone, I am not teaching this as a means of you going around, thinking that you can determine who the allies of Allah or who the allies of Shaitan are, because Allah knows best who they are. But the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lets us know that he was sent to teach us good behavior, good manners, good character. And by teaching us good behavior, good manners, and good character, in turn, he was teaching us Islam, because that's what Islam is based upon. And in order to be an ally of Allah, there are certain characteristics that you should have. Just like if you don't have those characteristics and you have those bad characteristics instead, you are an ally of Shaitan. And we all know, first of all, you have to believe in Allah. Not just say you do. You have to believe in him the way he commanded us to believe in him. And we have to worship him the way he commanded that we worship him. Not the way you want, not the way I want, not the way somebody else wants us to do. And we have to believe in everything that Allah commands us to believe in, and to distance ourselves from everything that Allah told us to distance ourselves from. So to be an ally of Allah is not an easy thing, because you're basically fighting against yourself. You're basically spending every day of your life fighting against your own desires, fighting against your own likes, fighting against your own dislikes. And that's the problem, because most of us, we end up giving in to our desires and our likes, especially if it's coupled with ignorance of the religion. And that's the problem. I have a lot of people who have been Muslim all their life and they don't know the basics. A lot of the new shahadas, they want to know, Sister Layla, how can I prevent myself from going back to the sinful things I did before I converted to Islam? Well, number one, you have to distance yourself from those people and those bad environments. And number two, you have to get busy learning this religion correctly. And a lot of you will come to me. I just had a person send me a message before class saying, subhanAllah, I follow you on YouTube. I listen to your classes, but then how can I differentiate? Because when I go to the masjid, they call themselves speaking about Islam, but they're saying things, that you told us they would say. And well, like I said, guys, Islam is only based on two sources, the Quran and the authentic hadith. If somebody tells you that you have to do something, or you should do something, or you must do something, or you should not do something, they have to bring the clear nas, the clear verse where Allah said you should do that thing. And Allah doesn't speak in riddles. He's not going to tell you to jump up and down, twirl around, and stand on your head. That means when you enter the house, say assalamu alaikum. No, no. He's going to tell you when you enter the home, greet the people within it. That's what he says in the Quran. Allah says that right in the Quran. You know, he taught us the manners of entering the home. You don't want to catch the people inside the home off guard. Allah is clear. He says in the Quran, he doesn't say when you enter the house, greet the angels. Does Allah say that? How do you even know you got angels in there? The angels are part of the unseen world. You probably got jinn in your house. You don't know that. Especially where some of your houses look. You have to keep a clean home. Your home can't be stinky. Angels don't come into a house that has bad odors, bad smells, clothes all over the place, dirt, filth. They don't do that. So you might have jinns in your house. So Allah doesn't say when you enter your home, say assalamu alaikum to the angels. No, he doesn't say that. He says in the Quran clearly, when you enter your home, greet the people within it. And then our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explains it in the authentic hadith, Bukhari. That's why I tell my new shahadas 2 books. I don't want you guys to deal with nothing but 2 books when it comes to hadith. Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. If it ain't Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, you don't deal with it. Because you are new to Islam, you don't know the religion well, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Most Muslims on this earth don't know the hadiths. The scholars of hadiths are few. So if it's a source that's other than Bukhari and Muslim, you ask the people in knowledge. Come ask me. I'll tell you if that hadith is authentic or not, because I know the hadiths. That's my specialty. That and Aqidah. Okay? So when you read the hadiths, it's clear in Bukhari. The Prophet Muhammad goes over the mannerisms of entering into a home. He says, don't walk into anybody's house without seeking permission. And if you knock and they don't answer, even if you know they're home, that means they don't want to be bothered, so you leave. You leave. You don't force yourself in. And then the Prophet tells us, all of these hadiths are in Bukhari. He said, when you enter into the home, greet the people who are there, so as they know that you are there and no one is harmed. He doesn't mention anything about an angel, because you can't see the angels. The angels are part of the unseen world. So where does this nonsense come about angels? That's some more. Like I tell you guys, there's more Sufis in the world than anything. That's something that the Sufis add. The Sufis say give salams to angels. The Sufis believe that stuff, but we can't say that. Allah didn't say salam the angels in your house. He said greet the people therein. And our Prophet didn't say you're salaming angels. In fact, he told us angels, you can't see them. He said, greet the people that's in there. So how can you, as a new Shahada and an old Muslim, differentiate between what's conjecture and what isn't? What are their sources? If a person tells you when you enter your house, even though you live by yourself, when you open the door and close it, say, Assalamu alaikum, angels. Where's the hadith? They should say, this hadith is right here. The Prophet said, when you enter the house, say, Assalamu alaikum to the angels. Or they should say, here's the verse where Allah clearly says, when you enter your home, say, Assalamu alaikum to the angels. You will find that such a thing doesn't exist. Okay? And if they do give you a hadith, look at the source. If it's not Bukhari, if it's not Muslim, than ask the people of knowledge. Why? Because 30%, I repeat, 30%, I repeat, 30% of the hadiths in Abu Dawood are not authentic. 35%, 35%, 35% of Tirmidhi are not authentic. Even more not authentic of Ibn Majah. The two Sahihs are Bukhari and Muslim. And you're going to find that a lot of people will quote hadiths that are not authentic, like that one about angels, like the one about Allah hating divorce. That ain't authentic either. That's why I tell you guys, 85% of the knowledge of Islam is found in Sahih Bukhari alone. 9 times out of 10, if a hadith is authentic in those other collections, 9 times out of 10, you will find it referenced in Bukhari or Muslim. If you don't see nothing mentioned like that in either one of them, that should tell you something wrong. It's questionable, maybe. The chances of it being questionable are higher than not, because Imam Bukhari, that's 85% of the authentic stuff. It's a lot. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You can't believe everything that you hear. Because again, we're living in the days in which understanding of the Sunnah of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has become abandoned and forgotten. So be careful. Today we're going to cover, we're going to speak about how in order to be an ally of Allah, you have to have allegiance. This is wala wal bara. Wala wal bara, which I did we got the book, the second, when I'm going to go to the second of the trilogy of Sheikh Karim Abu Zayd's after I do all this. But the allies of Allah, they have allegiance, and their allegiance is only to Allah, only to the Prophet, and only to the Muslims. And this is the problem today. You think that you're an ally of Allah, but you're not showing it. You're showing allegiance to things other than Allah and his religion. When you celebrate holidays, like I said, Thanksgiving. Why is it that Layla Nashiba doesn't participate in Thanksgiving? Because this is not my culture. This is not my way of life. It ain't got nothing to do with worship. It's just not my way of life. Why I don't do Valentine's Day? Not my way of life. My allegiance is to the religion of Islam. If it's not a part of Islam, and if it contradicts Islamic ideology, we distance ourselves. And this is where we Muslims around the world today have fallen. Most Muslims today do not have allegiance to Allah or the Prophet Muhammad or each other. And let's talk about that. Yeah, I think I made the person very angry because he's trying his best to nuke me, but it's not going to happen, inshallah. It's just going to make my facial movement slow, but my voice is clear. And all y'all need to do is see the PowerPoint anyway. Okay, so I want everyone listening to me to understand that when we declare La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, that brings us into the folds of Islam. And it also is a declaration of our allegiance. And when we talk about allegiance, that means that we have sincere love for Allah. And we will do everything in our power to aid his way. And we have sincere love for all of Allah's prophets and for all the believers on earth, no matter what color they are, what race they are, or what country they come from, as we talked about with the children today. And also when we declare allegiance, that allegiance also means that I'm going to disassociate from any practice or people that contradicts what Allah says, that contradicts my way of life. And this shows how strong you are in your faith. That's why we're all of different levels. Some of us don't have that allegiance. Some of us have some allegiance, but not all allegiance. So that's why we're all of different levels. Some of you celebrate holidays. Some of you celebrate no holidays, but you do your birthday. That shows your allegiance to Allah, to the Prophet, to this religion. Is questionable. It's not as solid as it should be, and you have to work on that. Your allegiance must be completely to nothing nor anyone but Allah, His Prophet, the Muslims, and this way of life. Period. Dot. And we're living in a very crucial time in which many of the basic and vital Islamic concepts have become forgotten or they're misunderstood. Like the example I gave earlier, greeting. Allah doesn't say greet angels. He knows you can't see angels. He tells us we can't see them. He's saying greet the people in your home. Say Bismillah before you enter the home. That's why you have to learn the hadiths. The Prophet said the etiquette is before you enter your home, say Bismillah, because if any evil thing followed you, that will keep them from entering your home. And then when you enter inside the home, let the people in the home know that you're there. That's what the hadith says. It doesn't say go running through the house salaming angels when you don't even know if they in there. And the way, like I said, the way most of your houses look, you ain't got no angels in your house, especially with that rap music going, that cursing, that cigarette smoke. Ain't no angels in your house. You crazy. All right. So we're living in the days in which the concepts of our religion are forgotten, misunderstood, or totally neglected. And allegiance and enmity fall into that category. That's why when I taught that series, which I'm going to be teaching again on Wala wal Bara, many people said I was crazy. They never heard it before. Many of the English-speaking people here in America that would listen to my class thought I was crazy because they never heard it before. They learn all these Arabic words and don't know what it means. They hear the word wala wal bara, but they didn't know what it meant. You know, subhanAllah. That's why we have to speak to the people in the language they understand. And that's for you other brothers out there, all that Arabic y'all using. If you're going to use Arabic, you better do like I do and tell them what it means in English. You should be using more English than anything because these people in America don't speak no Arabic. And even the Arabs don't speak Arabic anymore. They about as slangy as they can get too. Subhanallah. So because we don't understand the basic concepts of our religion, we're not practicing Islam the way the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought it to us. In fact, it's so hard to distinguish a true believing Muslim from an unbeliever. We look like them. We dress like them. We talk like them. We behave like them. We fight like them. I can't stand to see how Muslims fight today. You picking up signs and flags and protesting. That ain't how we fight as no Muslim. We fight with supplication, man. Victory came to the Muslims, from their dua, supplications. You ain't going to find in Islamic history any of the companions or their predecessors walking around fighting against their enemies by picking up flags and marching like the Kafirs do. So we've imitated them in everything to the point where it's hard to distinguish a true believer from an unbeliever. And this is why so many Muslims are weak in their iman today. Okay? This is why so many Muslims don't have hope. I've never seen such young people have no hope. I get so many brothers that come into this website telling me that they want to kill themselves because they committed a sin. They have no hope of forgiveness. When we take on the mannerisms of the unbelievers, we also end up adopting their problems too. And of course, again, allegiance is what we are testifying to when we declare that La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And most Muslims don't know that. That's why the Prophet said, if you live to experience bad times for this ummah, the wars and homosexuality and the women outnumbering men and alcohol, intoxicants becoming the norm, he said, fall back on La ilaha illallah. That means reevaluate your belief system and change yourself. Make yourself conform to what he came with, the true Islam. So to understand the concept of allegiance and disassociation, we have to understand the meaning of that testimony of faith. When we say La ilaha illallah, we are declaring that no one has the right to be worshipped except Allah. We're not testifying that there is no God but Allah. That's not the Shahada. Most Muslims will say, oh, it means there is no God but Allah. No, it means that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah. So with this, the worship of all other deities has been negated. That means we negate any other deity. And our worship is only for Allah alone. That's what that Shahada is saying. Listen to what Ibn Taymiyyah, who was one of the early scholars of Islam that you guys hear us mention a lot, say. We talked about ijazah when we did when Sheikh Saud showed you guys what ijazah looks like, when he gave you guys ijazah on that one hadith. Well, if I were to show you my ijazah includes Ibn Taymiyyah, because my teachers learn from his students, and then him, and then it traces all the way back. Our knowledge traces all the way back, as Sheikh Saud said, to those original companions. Okay? So Ibn Taymiyyah, I am one of his students. Ibn Taymiyyah, you all who are my students, you are his students. Look at all the blessings Ibn Taymiyyah is getting. He wasn't famous during his time. They didn't like him during his time. You know, ain't no people of knowledge famous. The people of knowledge are hated because there's more allies of Shaytan than there are Allah. He's famous now. He wasn't when he was living. But look at all the students he has today. Sunnahfollowers. You all who are here are students of Ibn Taymiyyah. Listen to what he said. He said, there is no happiness for the hearts, nor complete delight except in loving Allah and getting close to him and whatever he loves. And it is not possible to truly love Allah except by turning away from everything that is loved besides him. This is the reality of La ilaha illallah. Isn't that beautiful? How many of you understand that? There is no true happiness in your heart, nor can true faith either, unless you love Allah first and foremost. and do the deeds that'll bring you close to him. And you have to love everything that he loves and dislike only what Allah dislikes. And Allah tells us in the Quran, guys, that he hates everything that he made haram. So you should hate it too. The allies of Allah, we hate alcohol. We hate intoxicants. We hate fornication. We hate adultery. We hate cigarettes because all these things are haram. We hate pork. We hate lying. We hate cheating. If you train your heart, as Ibn Taymiyyah is saying here, to only love the things Allah loves and hate what Allah hates, now you are submitting. Now you are a Muslim. Now you are one who is in submittance to your Lord. That's the reality of that Shahada. That's the religion that our Prophet Muhammad came with, and that is also the religion of Abraham, alayhi salam. Abraham was not a separate religion. Abraham was a Muslim. He came with Islam, just like all the other prophets. The allies of Allah, they love what Allah loves and they hate what he hates. And they live their lives trying to own up to that statement. How many of you are doing that? You're imitating the non-Muslims. You're not showing no love for Allah. Allah doesn't like the non-Muslims. So love of Allah and doing what he loves and what he is happy with, that's the reality of la ilaha illallah. You brothers better put them cigarettes down. You brothers better stop smoking that weed. You sisters better put them hijabs on. You sisters better get it together. Y'all better stop that phone sex y'all doing and stuff. And a lot of people will ask me, Sister Layla, are there ways that you can tell if you really love Allah? Because we all say we love Allah. I say I love Allah. Are there some signs that I can look for that would be indicative or indicate that I love Allah? Well, yes. Number one, do you give precedence to what Allah loves, even if it goes against your desires? Even though you don't want to put that hijab on, even though you don't want to wear an abaya, do you wear it anyway because Allah commanded you to do it? Allah loves everything that he made an obligation upon us. He loves everything that he made lawful for us. Are you one of those Muslims that's going around saying things are haram, but you don't have no dalil, no evidence? Are you one of those brothers saying that makeup is haram? Colors, a woman wearing colors, a woman wearing makeup, a woman being beautiful is haram, but you have no clear hadith on this planet that makes that statement from our prophet, nor is there any verse in the Quran that says that. Well, if you're making statements like that based on your desires and your likes and dislikes, that's a sign that you got some issues. The allies of Allah wouldn't make such statements without dalil. Because again, the allies of Allah knows that Allah hates everything he made unlawful. So we hate it too. You may not like makeup, but as Allah says, perhaps you hate something that Allah brings good from. Okay? Also, a sign that you truly love Allah is you will be sincere in your love for him and will rush to help in his cause. I know some Muslims that donate thousands of dollars every year to the Animal Protection League. But they don't donate a dime to the mosque. They don't give a dime to this website, but they'll give thousands of dollars. I know one Muslim used to come to my website. She donates $10,000 a year to the Animal Protection League. Oh, yes, she do. And the Humane Society. And I shake my head. I said, Lord, what Sunnahfollowers could do with that $10,000? Subhanallah. What a masjid could do to help the community with that $10,000. You know, we're supposed to help each other in the way of Allah. You know, but you're going to throw it away to the animals? How many of you know Muslims that give thousands of dollars to the, what's that hospital? John Hopkins Hospital for children that are sick. Don't y'all know the Christians take care of their people? The Christians don't need you to donate to their leukemia foundation. They don't need you to donate to their John Hopkins hospitals. Like the Prophet Muhammad said, there are 6 characteristics that the Christians have that are good, and that's why they will always be over us. One of them is they take care of their own. They take care of their poor, their needy. We don't take care of ourselves. The Christians don't need your $10,000 for John Hopkins, but the masjid does. Sunnahfollowers does. We're a non-profit organization. Subhanallah. So again, that's one of the signs of loving Allah. Are you helping in his cause? Or are you busy helping in the kaffir's cause? Okay? And again, we're supposed to show enmity or disassociation to those who show disassociation to Allah and his prophet. How many of you brothers are married to kafir women? Let's just talk about it. How many of you Muslim men are married to a woman who is not a Muslim, and you would say she Christian? She ain't no Christian. Number one, she hates Islam. Number two, she hates Allah. Number three, she hates his prophet. That means your marriage ain't valid, because to marry a Christian woman, she has to be on the verge of converting, number one, and she cannot be an enemy to Allah, an enemy to the prophet. So a lot of you men are illegally living with kafir women that you call your Christian wife, when they ain't no more Christian than the man in the moon. They're enemies to Allah. You're supposed to hate those who hate Allah. Your wife hates Islam. She's always trying to tell you to lead that way of life. That's your wife? Are you crazy, dude? She talks bad about your prophet. She talks bad about your Lord. You ain't no ally of Allah, and she ain't legal. Okay? And again, another sign of having love for Allah is you will follow and obey the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and accept his guidance. As Allah says in the Quran, you're not going to find those who love Allah loving those who are enemies to him. So to truly believe in the meaning of the testimony of faith, you have to understand that it implies having allegiance to Allah and to his messenger and to other matters too, such as this religion. That's why we don't do Christmas. That's why we don't do Valentine's Day. That's why we don't do the 4th of July. That's why we don't do birthdays, because that ain't a part of Allah's religion. That ain't a part of his book. That's not the way of his prophets. Okay? Also, Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning, indeed, your helper, your protector is none other than Allah, the prophet, and the believers. So you're going to disassociate yourself from these non-Muslims. How many of you voted in the election? We had a lot of famous personalities here in America who voted, and y'all listen to those brothers. What did Allah say? You voted in the election because you believe that some kafir is going to change the qadr of Allah. You believe that some kafir who doesn't even believe in Allah, who doesn't even believe in the Prophet Muhammad, is going to stop the war in Gaza. Allah tells you right here, your helper and protector is none other than Allah. But you guys ran to a kafir. Some of you ran to a gay blade kafir and voted for them, thinking that they was going to change Allah's decree and protect you and protect people of Gaza. How stupid. Where's your allegiance? Do y'all see? Most of us are not allies of Allah. If we look at ourselves really hard, we can see that we are got a long way to go. Many of us have jahiliyyah in us. That means pre-Islam. Many of us are straddling the fence between Allah and Shaytan. And also for the believer that understands the testimony of faith, again, enmity to everything that goes against what Allah says. Allah says, indeed, there is for you an excellent example in the prophet Abraham and those with him, when they said to their people, indeed, we are free of you, and whatever you worship besides Allah, we reject you. And there has arisen between us and you disassociation and hatred until you believe and worship Allah. Prophet Abraham said this to his family, to his friends, to his countrymen, because they were all pagans. How many of you stand up to your parents? A lot of you call me up on the phone because you converted to Islam and your parents told you not to come to their house with that thing on your head. If you're going to come visit them, you better have on a dress and have your hair out. They don't want you looking like some bag woman from Baghdad. Oh yeah, that was a sister that called me. And I told her, who are you? Where's your allegiance? Is your allegiance to your mom and daddy, who are definitely right now enemies of Allah and his religion? Are you like Prophet Abraham? He stood up against his family and against his whole country. Where's the faith? We can't even tell our mother and dad, look, in that case, I won't come around. I'll call and check on you to make sure you're okay. But I'm not going to compromise my relationship with my Lord for anyone. How many of you will do that or say that? Very few. Also, Allah says, whoever rejects falsehood and believes in Allah, this is the person that has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. You guys give in to your desires. All of you that voted in those elections for the president, I gave in y'all all the dalil. The Prophet Muhammad was clear. The Prophet Muhammad said a non-Muslim can never be a ruler or a leader over us. Allah is clear in these verses. In the Quran, he says they will never accept you. They will never fight for you. The non-believers will never, ever, ever have your interests at heart. Their desire is to destroy you. That is the clear evidence. But you brothers said, forget what Allah said. It's about my emotions. I'm going to go vote in the elections because they can change what Allah decreed. How sick you Muslims are. Where's your allegiance? It ain't to Allah. Also, the one who truly understands the meaning of the Shahada accepts that everything Allah commanded is to be obeyed. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning. Follow that which has been revealed from your Lord and do not follow any friends or helpers other than him. You brothers were listening. You Muslims were listening to these famous Sufi speakers here in America. Y'all listen to the Texas group. Y'all were listening to all them famous Sufis from out of Texas. and other places that you think are scholars when they ain't. And they the ones that told you that they can tweak, they can tweak Allah's Quran. And that because this is the land of the infidel, it's okay to vote. Who said that? The Prophet Muhammad lived in the land of the infidel too. But did they vote for kafirs? Follow what has come from Allah. Don't follow your friends. Don't follow these other people. How many of you can say no to what the rest of the world is doing? Remember, the allies of Shaytan outnumber the allies of Allah. Allah says there'll be more people in hell than paradise. Most people, out of every 1,000 999 is going to be in hell. So you're going to follow them to hell? You should be that one that says, no, I'm going to obey my Lord. Because the believers would never take a fatwa or an Islamic verdict over what Allah said in his prophet. Listen to what Allah says and the interpretation of the meaning. Do they seek after a judgment from the times of ignorance? And who is better in judgment other than Allah? Allah said, don't vote. Allah said, we do not vote for non-Muslims to be rulers over us. But you took fatwas from these ignorant men in America who are nobody. They're not companions. They're not prophets. And they ain't even scholars. They're renegades from out of their countries. You took them and their fatwas over Allah. So again, the allies of Allah wouldn't do that. They stick with what Allah says. And also they disassociate from any other way that contradicts Islam. Listen to what Allah says. And by the way, new shahadas, here's the proof. Here's the dalil that your mother, if she did not die a Muslim, that she will be in hell with the Prophet's mother and with his father. Allah says, and the interpretation of the meaning, whoever seeks after a religion other than Islam, it will never be accepted from him. And in the hereafter, he will be one of the losers. There's your clear evidence. If I'm going to tell you that there will be no religion in paradise but Islam, I have to back it up with a clear verse that says there will be no other religion. Well, here it is. There will be no other religion but Islam. I don't speak from my desires. I don't make it up. That's why I use PowerPoint. I use the PowerPoint. I tell y'all to take screenshots because I always give the hadith, I give the verse, and I give the source. So you can see it ain't made up. Y'all better start taking PowerPoints. Taking screenshots. So anyone that dies upon a religion other than Islam or a way other than Islam, it's not accepted. Your mother knew about Islam. Who doesn't know about Islam today? It's all over the TV. If they don't die a Muslim, they're one of the losers. So again, to be an ally of Allah, guys, it's not an easy task.